Welcome to LollieTasking with ADHD. I am your host, Dr. Lola, a multi-passionate mom of three, a physician, and an ADHD life coach because, like most of you amazing women listening, I have ADHD. Join me as we chat about how ADHD affects our lives and learn strategies to help us all thrive, not just survive, with ADHD so we can live the life we want while accomplishing all our goals. Let's get started. Hello, LollieTaskers. Again, I am Dr. Lola, a physician and ADHD trained life coach, and I teach easily distracted women, moms, women with ADHD, how to have easy strategic ways to maximize your time and focus while decreasing all the overwhelm so we can finally, reach our full potential because guess what? Stress is not our ministry. All right. So before we get started today, I want to give a shout out to I am Shannon Noon on Instagram. We had talked about, I think it was time blindness we talked about last week, and she said, "Okay, I got this, but how about this tax paralysis thing?" I gave her some tips which I'll be discussing later. Um, but you know what? I realized that this is not the first time I'm getting questions about tax paralysis. I actually get it quite a bit. So I was like, why not just do a podcast about it? So that's where we're at. So thank you, Shannon, for asking that question and reminding me the need to go ahead and talk about this important topic. If you would love for me to shout you out on our next podcast, I would love for you guys to go ahead and give me a review right now. Share with your friends. Subscribe. Subscription is very important. Actually, writing a review. I don't care if it's, "I love it, you rock," or, "Oh, this is amazing," or, "I would appreciate if you did this better." Write me a review. 5 stars are always appreciated, and you may just get a shout out on our next episode. Okay, let's just get to it. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Task paralysis, excuse me. Task paralysis is a major issue in ADHD. I mean, okay, you're probably like, "I've never heard of this," or maybe you have heard of this, but have you ever had so much to do that you don't do anything? Like you literally like lie there thinking of all the things you have to do, and then you get overwhelmed because you're thinking of all the things you have to do until 5 minutes to whatever it is due, and all of a sudden you have this lightning speed motivation and you get it done. We do eventually get it done, but that overwhelm anxiety shutdown cycle is real. It is quite debilitating, you know and a lot of us really wish that if we had to get something done, we just do it. Like, seriously. Like, we don't want to keep worrying about it and thinking about it. And let's say, for example, you have something due at night, like all day. You're thinking about it because you have not done it. So you have this perpetual anxiety. Your cortisol level is up, right? But you don't do it because you are in the freeze area of your cycle. So you're like, what is going on? Why can't I just get stuff done like everybody? Okay, it's so funny because I hear people tell themselves, "I'm just lazy." This is far from the truth. A lazy person lacks the motivation to actually, like, motivation or concern, if I may, to actually complete the task, right? However, a person who has task paralysis, you know for sure you need to get it done. You think about it, everything in you is just like, "I just cannot get it done." Not because you don't want to, it's because you can't. And all you keep thinking throughout the day or throughout whatever is this ability of getting it done. But because you keep thinking about it, you get overwhelmed. And because you get overwhelmed, you freeze and then you don't get anything done. Okay? So I read somewhere, and I quote word for word, okay? And I gotta go look for where I read this out so I could give them credit because this is fantastic. Anxiety can exacerbate procrastination, and the procrastination can exacerbate anxiety. These become difficult to break pattern, feeding into itself. Or themselves is what I said. In the midst of this cycle, anxiety, our bodies have learned that shutting down completely is an effective way to disrupt the overwhelming stress we are experiencing, which is predictably only makes this situation worse in the long term. So you shorting down because of the overwhelm that you feel is actually something your body is trying to do to protect yourself, right? So the overwhelm of tax triggers is it's a primordial instinct. Instincts, as you guys know, primordial instincts are fight, flight, freeze, and this new one, fawn, right? It's hard. And for us with tax paralysis, we break that stress with freeze. But the irony of it is because we're freezing and we're thinking about it, our stress even get worse. Okay. So that's why we get into this anxiety, overwhelm, shutdown, anxiety, overwhelm, shutdown, anxiety, overwhelm, shutdown equal get nothing done. Okay. So it's funny because you're like, that's why they call it like couch lock. Some people call it couch lock because you're literally like sitting there like, I really should be doing my paper. I really should be doing my paper. I really should be doing my paper, right? Like you just kind of stay there over and over and then you just can't get it done. All right, so enough about the discussion of what it is. I think it's quite self explanatory. And this is going to be a short podcast. I always say that, but we'll see. So I have 5 things that can help you improve your tax paralysis. The first thing is the hardest part is the first step in whatever it is you have to do, okay? Tax paralysis often comes from being stuck on the important but not urgent things, right? Like we don't have that dopamine to push it. But at the same time, it stems from perfectionism, not knowing the right way to start and then over analyzing, right? Some tax paralysis, we call it analysis paralysis, right? So the best thing to do is turn your focus to not all the things you have to do or how big the project is and how you want to improve people or tell people how great you are or how you want to be perfect and show your best foot forward, but turn your attention to that immediate next step, okay? Do it simple, do it easy, do it as a rough draft, okay? Just start at the minimum part you need to start. The great thing with ADHD is once we cross that first initial line, it gives us the momentum to keep going. Okay. We have to give ourselves permission to start something small because even a small step that we take is a step in the right direction instead of freezing and not doing anything. Okay. So, one question I ask myself if I'm in this situation is I ask myself, what is the minimum work I can do to get started? I'm not worried about finishing. I'm worrying about starting. So, what is the minimum stuff? So, for example, for this podcast, the minimum stuff is maybe researching the topic, making sure there's nothing new out there that I may need to talk to you guys about. And then once I do that, I give myself a check. Okay? Don't worry about finishing, worry about starting. Okay? So, and if you still cannot start, you have to ask yourself, what part of this task am I dreading or worried about? And if you do acknowledge it and you do find it, the next question is, can it be outsourced, right? Can I make it rewarding? Can I make it fun? Can I have someone do that part for me that way I can focus on the other things that I really like? So these are important questions you should be asking yourself as you are trying to get over task paralysis. So, again, number one, the hardest part is the first step. So, try to do the first step, okay? The next thing is working backwards. We need to set realistic goals and expectations. There's something about us ADHD. We're such visionaries that we think that we could build a Eiffel Tower in a day. Okay. Yes, we may be able to build the Eiffel Tower, but we got to break this thing down. Break it down into small, manageable tasks, small goals, immediate deadline with reward accompanying it. If you want to build an IKEA furniture right now, and IKEA is not paying for this podcast, but if you feel like paying, holla at me, IKEA, okay? But if you want to build a furniture, the first step is to start with the blueprint and sort out all the bolts and start with number one. Once you build the number one frame, then you go to number two. Okay? This is why I have this thing called Create Systems to Thrive. In our program, in Creating Systems to Thrive, we create a blueprint together for all the major aspects of our lives. That way, in cases of analysis paralysis, or in cases where we have no idea where to start from, we at least have the blueprint and we can go step by step, right? We have to ask ourselves, is this goal realistic? Can I come with a manageable plan I can do, right? So that's part of working backwards. First, you get the goals and expectation. You create your blueprint. Like I said, if you don't have one, you can hit me up. We are doing one actually on August 13th of 2022. If you're listening to this later, we do this twice a year, in the beginning of the year and in the middle of the year. So I would love for you guys to join us. But the next one is August 13, 2022. Anyways, so you create your systems. Once you create your systems, then you can move backwards, right? And ask yourself, okay, are my goals realistic? Can I come up with a manageable plan or blueprint to help me achieve this goal that goes through step by step? Okay. Number three, so let's review again. Number one, the hardest part is the first step. Number two, work backwards. Number three, prevent tax paralysis. Okay, this is a big one, okay? Because you guys already know it is hard to overcome tax paralysis. We're always waiting on that dopamine, right? So, why don't we just prevent it? We got to start with what I call our list management, okay? I have a note in my phone where when I have something to do, I just dump it in there. That way it's not in my forefront, right? And once I put all my things in there, I just go there to prioritize. I prioritize with something called the Kaban Method, where you pick the top three things you need to achieve. And if you don't finish those three things, you don't move on to the next three things, okay? So if I had to do this podcast and I was okay, research. Once I research, I'll write it out. Once I write it out, I'll record. But I can't move on to the next thing, right? Till I have done those three. It makes me focus on the thing at hand instead of worrying about the next thing I need to do. It also helps me break down the task in a manageable way. That way my brain is seeing each step as one small thing I need to do versus the whole thing as in record a podcast. Does that make sense? So so the main thing is having your list. What are the questions you need to ask yourself? You need to always ask yourself, do I really need everything on this list? What three things do I need to know or do I need to do before I go back to my list storage to get three more things? So, getting what you have done in front of you. And if you do that over and over again, it becomes a habit. That way, you don't have to think about it next time. Okay. Number four, accountability. Okay, so accountability is a big one. And I talk about buddy doubling, which has been shown to be one of the most effective method for getting tasks done. You can use accountability as someone who checks on you to make sure you get it done, or you can use them to just be around while you work on things. Part of the CSC is you get 6 weeks of GPS. So GPS is like, our getting things done session with a coworker that helps you in your planning, and not planning, but that helps you just be there. The good thing about buddy doubling is like they don't even have to be doing the same thing you're doing. But if you do it virtually, I do recommend that both your cameras be on so you have that motivation to actually get things done. Okay. And if you are interested in buddy doubling and you didn't know about it, we also have a program called GPS where you don't even have to have ADHD. If you just want to get things done, we meet every last Friday of the month to plan for our month. We plan every Monday morning. Um, and whenever we have buddy doubling, you also join us for that, okay? Number five, environment. Are you in the right environment for the task? Is your mindset right about the task, right? Are you exercising? Do you have music on? Or is there some distractions that will prevent you from actually getting to the task? So these are things that I personally do not have answers to, but you do. And I think it's very important that you think through it and decide, okay, is this the optimum place for me to do it? Okay? So, another thing I also recommend is setting timers, being flexible with your mindset, right? Like telling yourself, okay, I don't have to be perfect on it and things may change, but I need to start it because if I don't start it, then it's hard for me to know what I need to change, okay? So I think that's really it. Like I told you guys, it's going to be a under 20 minutes podcast. Again, let's review. The first thing you need to do is start. Start simple, start rough, start just start, okay? The next thing you need to do is walk backward, breaking setting your goals and breaking down your goals into manageable steps of reward. The third thing you need to do is prevent task paralysis. And part of it is your list management and moving things 3 at a time to make sure that you are accomplishing things at once. The next thing you need to do is accountability, having a buddy doubling that can be there to get things done if you don't have the motivation to do it. And then last thing I talked about it is the idea of environment, right? Is your mindset in the right place? Is the timer available? Is the temperature right? What are the things that's going to prevent you from actually getting the task done? Okay, so um, again, let's just say like I had an amazing time with you guys today. I'm going to end with this quote. Stop beating yourself up. You are a work in progress, which means you get there a little at a time, not all at once. Okay? So that's it. That's it. That's it, guys. I hope you have an amazing and intentional week ahead. If you need help with creating your blueprint and planning, you can join us on August 13th, 2022 for our virtual replenish workshop. I'm excited. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. And you can sign up for that at all.lollietasking.com/CST underscore ADHD. And you will find our link in the show note. If you can't make it and still would love to join us for a planning session, you can always join our GPS sessions at allthelollietasking.com/GPS. So, like I said, don't be a stranger. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything more extensively, one of the best places to actually do it is through our Facebook group called Women with ADHD Professionals and Entrepreneurs. Okay, so all links will be in our show notes. If you're ready to do something about your ADHD, you can also join our membership, Accomplish with Ease. There we go in depth on your ADHD and we do weekly coaching. We have the accountability. We have so many things for you. Okay. So I think that's it today. Don't forget to follow us on IG at LollieTasker or email us at hello@lollietasking.com. And leave a review, guys. Don't forget to do that because you may just get a shout out on a future episode. Again, till next time, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, you can do it too with some planning, a little bit of balance, and a dash of determination. This is LollieTasking with ADHD. Thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of LollieTasking with ADHD. If you like what you've heard today, I would love for you to click the subscribe button, rate, and leave a great review, in addition to sharing with your friends. Your review allows visibility and also allows other amazing women to find this podcast. Also, if you have any questions or topics you would like for us to discuss, please contact me via direct message on Instagram at LollieTasker or email us at hello@lollietasking.com. Till next time, this is LollieTasking with ADHD.